trade has worked. I don't know if I would keep pushing the envelope on the Swiss franc trades. I thought there was a short squeeze forthcoming on the Swiss franc. I really like the pound versus the Swiss franc, but it looks like a good deal of those moves have already been had, and I would not overstay my welcome in the Swiss franc. So again, I'm looking forward to taking a couple questions from you guys. Not a whole lot going on in the currency markets. There's a lot going on in the stock markets. The index is all bolted to new highs today. Somebody was asking about Tesla, and Tesla is a very curious chart right here. Again, just like on Friday, we opened at the high of the day. Looks like we're selling off at this very important 700 level. So to my mind, Tesla needs to get above 720 to start renewing this uptrend. So we'll have to see how we close. It's always really important to see the highs versus the lows of the daily bars. So we're really in a resistance level with Tesla. We've got Zahid here. Hi, Zahid. So I'm still waiting for people to check in. I suggested to our members over the weekend, hey Zahid, how are you? So in my newsletter over the weekend, I recommended getting short Zoom Communications, ticker symbol ZM. And that stock is cratering right now. It's about down $9 as we speak. So Doug said, could IBM be poised for a short? I would not short IBM. There's something going on there. I actually like the price action. It's kind of forming this ascending wedge kind of thing. And I think it could have another $10 run. Hey, Mustafa, I hope you had a good Easter too. So, no, I think, IBM's banging on the door of this 135 price level. It's got this huge ascending wedge. It's got a double bottom. So I actually think that IBM could jump out of this 135 area and possibly run to, 145 or more. So I would not short IBM right here. So I hope you guys had a good Easter. Let me know what you guys are trading, what questions you have. We've got Kevin, we've got Kenny, we have Zahid, Dog. So let me know, what are you guys trading? What are you interested in? Are you trading gold? Are you trading FX? Are you trading stocks? Let me know what questions you have. I'm trying to make this more interactive than me just talking a lot. Let me go to some of the questions I had from. So Gary says, can you tell what leverage sizes you're personally trading with? So, Gary, I typically take I recommend to our members to take a 0.5% risk per trade. And what does a 0.5% risk mean? So it means a 0.5% of your equity. So let's say you have $10,000 in your account. So I would not normally recommend that you risk any more than $50 on a trade. So think about that. If you risk $50 and you lose 5 trades in a row, it's meaningless. You'd lose $250 of your $10,000 and you'd live to fight another day. The problem is most people are risking 3%, 5%, 10% on an individual trade. And so if you have a run of bad luck, you're going to get choked out pretty quickly. So the whole thing in this game is survival, is to stick around for the next opportunity. And most people, I think, are trading too much and are risking too much on any one bet. So, I risk, like 0.5% on any given trade. And then if I really like a trade, I might risk 2%. And then I'll start incrementally adding to my positions as the market moves in my favor. Gerari says, hello, I'm an FX trader. I'm presently long pound versus New Zealand dollar. So I have been a proponent of being long pound versus New Zealand dollar. It double bottomed at the 185. and then stagnated right at the neckline, bounced between 190 and 193 for 2 months. And then 2 weeks ago, just broke out in one day from 193 to 197. And now we're just consolidating. There's a lot of resistance in this 197 to 198 price range. But I think that once we get out of here, there's a big move higher in pound New Zealand. So we're trading about 196.73 right now, and we're just consolidating. So I really like this. Frankly, I would add to a trade. Put an 80 pip stop loss here and actually add to the long trade. Charles says I'm trading the SPY, the S&P 500. The S&P 500 broke to all-time highs here. So we're trading, at the 4,058, almost the 4,100. I think that S&P is going to have, overhead resistance, anywhere from, here to 4,400. So we could still have another, huge run left on the table here. The S&Ps, all of the indexes are, running to, new highs here. Prakash wants to know about HYLN. HYLN. I don't know if I know what that is. So this does not look friendly. Yeah, I would definitely get out of this chart. I don't know what this is, but that's in a prolific downtrend, and I think the downtrend is going to continue. Terry says, what's your take on pound versus US dollars? So I think the US dollar trading pairs are in a trading range, but I think the dollar, will go weaker. And I think that pound versus pound is one of the stronger currencies. So I kind of like this. We're breaking out of a wedge now, and I like pound versus US dollar long. Somebody wants to know about Riot. This is a blockchain stock. It looks like it's trapped in a trading range between 40 and 60. Let's see how we close today. Right now we have kind of what I call a key reversal bar where we started out lower. And then it looks like we're going higher. We're trapped in this trading range, this consolidation. I don't know really what to think of this thing. We've kind of got like a triangle going on here. So, I think a break above 60 might, so a break above 60 could probably send this thing higher. So right now we're trapped, and let me just somebody try to call me. Sorry about this interruption. So Mario says, what do you think about SU? SU, Suncor Energy, kind of like treading water here, between the $20, $22 level. Yeah, it's in a, somewhat of an uptrend. Let me just kind of look at the weekly here. You do have a nice double bottom at the $10 area. I think you hit this piece of resistance here that hits it backwards. I think that it's pretty much hit the resistance level, and yeah, sorry, I've got a number of things working today, a number of trades, a trade that I might need to get out of right here. So just excuse me while I'm a little bit distracted today. All right. So GK says, what do you think about New Zealand dollar versus Canadian dollar? Just find that chart. That, yeah, it looks like it's caught a bit of support in here. I just think that it's going to be a difficult trade. It's been in a profound downtrend for a while. Yeah, I don't know if I would chase this thing on the upside. I would actually look for perhaps another place to get short. But right now, it's kind of in between. And I think I would leave that alone for right now, GK. Kenny says, I sold gold at 1686. Do you think it will drop again? I don't know. Gold put on a pretty impressive double bottom key reversal right at that 1680, Kenny. I look at the monthlies and I'm still skeptical that we're going to get a follow through here. So we're trapped between 1680 and 1750. I still think we'll go lower, but we really put on an impressive bottom last week. We've got two bottoms right at the 77 area, 1680, and then you had key reversal price actions on the weekly. So those are like stakes in the ground right at that area, and it's right at the bottom end of that ascending, broadening price pattern. So for weeks and weeks, I've been saying that gold is going to drop, to the 1650 to 1700 level, and that's exactly where we hit, right in between my target. And so I don't know. I'm kind of watching it here. It is very possible that we have put in a major bottom here. I'm a little bit skeptical when I look at the monthly charts that we can have a sustainable rally. So I think it's just going to be a guessing game right here. If we can stay under 1750, that really would be the neckline. So if we have a double bottom here, you want to see that bottom confirmed by it taking out the neckline and thrusting through that resistance around 1750. So, we kind of dug in at the old weekly lows last week. And now it's a question, is this just a trading zone where it's going to leak again? Or have we put in a major bottom? So it's going to be, really interesting to see, what goes on here. Rod, I do not look at any cotton reports. I don't look at any reports at all. Farron says, have you discussed the QQQ? So the QQQs have broken out. They're short of their highs. The S&P and the Dow went to new highs today. We kind of gapped open today. And, we're kind of in this area between, we've broken out above the 325, which was the resistance level, but we're under the 334. So we're trading at 329. We're kind of in the middle, of this, breakout area above 325 and where, it dropped from 334 about a month ago. So we're kind of in this dead zone. And like I said in my newsletter over the weekend, this is a stock pickers market. So, there's tremendous amount of rotation going on in the stock market every day. Goes from growth to value to momentum and then back to growth again. And so, you can't just, be locked into individual fads of the day or the week because they change and they rotate so much. And so what I do is I try and hone in on individual stocks that have, something that I can understand. And what I mean by understand is that I understand the chart position. So to me, I have been a huge advocate of being short Zoom, ZM Communications. To me, that has every bear chart pattern in the book. We dropped from, a double top at $588 all the way to $300. So we've dropped 40% from the all-time highs already. And now we're just sitting on a ledge. Since last August, the stock, is just sitting on this ledge around 305 to 310. And last week we snuck a little bit under that, made a new 10-month low around 302, and then we bounced to the high 330s. And I actually just used that bounce. I just arbitrarily just started shorting into Zoom at 336 last week, and right now we're trading at 318. So we're down $18 already from where I started shorting, and we're down about $9 today. So if we return back to 310 on Zoom and 305, there's just nothing but air under there. There's nothing but air. I mean, this thing could have a $50 drop, very, very quickly. So what I try and do is, this market is crazy. There's a lot of things going on everywhere. Every day you wake up and should I be in Exxon? Should I be in Lyft? Should I be in this? And so you really have to hone, and really this goes for trading in general, but I think especially for this environment, because, sometimes you're in an environment where a rising tide raises all ships. So it really doesn't matter. If the NASDAQ's going up and, you're long Snowflake and you're long Zoom and you're long all this, typically the environment will just carry you with it. This is not one of those environments. You need to be really dead sure about what you're doing, because, one stock could be up, one stock could be down, even though the indexes are, moving to all-time highs. So you need to really understand, what you're doing. Let me see. Svetlana wants to know about the euro. Yeah, I suggested to our members to, leg out to, we've been short from 119.37. And then it kind of I said that, there was a support area around 116 to 117. And that's where we got last week. And now, it looks like euro has somewhat bottomed here. And so I would not be short euro. In fact, this thing looks like it's, poised to go somewhat higher. So I think the dollar, is in this trading range, and I think the dollar hit, the high side of a resistance level, the dollar index last week, which means that the dollar is going to weaken, and anything against the dollar is going to go stronger. So I think the pound, Australian dollar, certainly the euro will tag along. John says, any comment about WRK? This is a stock that I believe has really good long-term potential on the upside. We're just hanging around. We're just consolidating this 52.80 to 53 level. We had a key reversal last week, which means that, but we've held. So usually if you have a reversal, prices should go lower, but we've kind of dug in, prices are just, just hanging in. I think that this is going to be a good stock for the long term if you have patience. Robert says, do you trade the Wyckoff method of trading? No, I don't. I don't know what that is. Maybe I should look it up. But no, I have, I've been trading for 4 decades. I have a certain way of looking at the markets. And, it really works for me. I made a lot of money. And, again, I don't focus on really short-term, trading opportunities. So every day markets are bouncing around, but it's like I've been in pound New Zealand dollar since the beginning of March, even when it was just going nowhere. So what I do is I look for setups that are going to lead to, huge trades, huge moves. And so I don't really pay attention to the individual days. If I kind of see a pattern like WRK, it's going to work at some point. You may lose patience and throw in the towel, and then it's going to go. This is how it really was for Lyft, where 3 months ago, Lyft put on a huge double bottom. It broke above the neckline at 40, went from 40 to about 50, and then started bouncing between 50 and 48 and 50 and 48. And I try to buy it a couple times there, and then, we go backwards and I dump it, and I would take a small loss and whatnot. And then at some point, Lyft, went from 50 all the way down to 44. It kind of started dumping. And I thought this was just the greatest opportunity because the long-term pattern said that this thing was going to go higher. But the short-term movement, in the meantime, something happened in the market and, Lyft dumped from 50 down to 44. And to me, that was just an opportunity, right? So then I saw a double bottom at the 44 and I started buying the stock at 44. And then I started buying the call options. The call option is a very leveraged bet that if you think something's going to move, and a call option is you think it's going to move, to the upside, then, I was buying the $46 calls and the $47 calls when the stock was $45. So I was like a buck out of the money on the 46. By the end of the week, Lyft closed at 53. And those calls that I bought for $1, the 146 calls at $1, I got out on a limit order at 7, which means that I made 700% on my money. But the point I'm making is that for 2 or 3 months, Lyft went into this very sleepy consolidation. And then it's actually sold off. And you thought, well, this guy's bananas. This thing looks like a junk stock. In the meantime, Lyft is trading at $65 now. I was getting in at 45. And that was just 2 months ago. I think WRK is going to be the same thing where, it's going to sleep right here. It's in this consolidation. It's consolidating very well between 50 and, 53 and 49. So the longer something hangs in here, to me, the healthier it's going to be. The more something consolidates and creates that energy, the more that energy is likely to, release it. And I think the underlying patterns tell me that this thing is going to go higher. I don't know, when, but to me, it's not a question of if, but when. So WRK will go lower. TRL says, do you have any other group or, yeah, so I do a master pattern group every Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can check our website, thepatterntrader.com, if you want to trade, sign up. And then I go actually on the charts. So I go actually the charts. I show you what I'm looking at. It's kind of difficult here where I've kind of got to, mentally draw pictures for you. So I like WRK a lot. So Tan says, how far out did you buy the Lyft call option? So usually, I usually just go out a week. So I remember coming in that Monday morning, seeing that Lyft was in the zone and, just helping myself to, a handful of $46 calls. And then I thought, I'm so excited about this thing. Then I started buying the $47 calls and they expired at the end of the week. So I only had 5 days, to be right about. So options are about being right and being right now. I've been right a whole bunch of times and had my options expire worthless because it didn't happen in that particular week. And the problem is the further out you go, the much more expensive it gets, and then your leverage diminishes. So if I bought the $46 calls, say 2 or 3 weeks out, instead of paying $1, I might be paying $3 or $4. Now, for the same move, yeah, but this end up, moving $20. But even a $20 move on a $4 bet is 5 times your money. I ended up making 7 times my money. Bought it for $1 and got out at 7. So it's a very tricky game of, chicken and egg, of buying these options and then, being right about the timing. And I've had a whole bunch of times where, the options have expired worthless on me, or I get out with 50% of the value. But the thing is, if you can make 700%, on some of your bets, then it makes up for a lot of the losers. And that's really my whole philosophy on trading. So it's not about winning or losing. People take losing so, to me, I lose, I dump, I move on, I look for the next setup. And I don't worry about, was I wrong? Am I a bad person? Is my, methodology full of shit? I just move on. And, I think it's that, ability just to, put your, your loser, in the back rear of your mirror and move on. So for me, it's always about the setup. What's the next setup? Where's the next lift? So I made 6 figures on Lyft. Now, where can I go and, look somewhere else? So TRL, I don't know why you're asking the question so many times, but I think I answered it. Robert says, I am interested in your course. Do you send out trades or do you have a video course on your strat? So I have the highest program we offer is called the Elite where I send out my trades every day, and then the elite members get access to whatever I do. I think that program's closed right now. We'll let you know when we reopen it. Um, so Charles says, would you mind looking at VLDR? Okay. I love talking to you guys because I learn about different charts and, get to see different opportunities. There's 10,000 stocks out there, and I'm always looking for new ideas. So, VLDR looks really poor. Charles, this is in a downtrend. It came from a descending wedge from the $30 down to 20. It looks like this, kind of a descending pattern. Maybe I need to do it this way just to see you guys. So it's a descending wedge pattern. It broke out at $20. I love descending wedges. It's one of my favorite patterns. I wish you had brought this to me, a couple of weeks ago when it broke out at 20. I would have shorted it. But yeah, I would not bother with that chart. Let's see. Precious says, does your strategy work on binary options? So the way I look at options is that I'm not an option expert. I don't look at delta, theta, vega, all of this. What I look for is the underlying. So whatever I'm looking to buy the option on, I want to, to me, it's the underlying pattern. And then does the underlying pattern suggest that there's going to be a big move quickly? So for instance, I saw the NASDAQ do a key reversal on the weekly where it made a new high, close on the low. This was February 19th. And it was really at the top of an ascending, broadening price pattern. So I had both the pattern and the price action. And I surmised by the reversal right at the all-time high at the top of this pattern that we were going to get a break lower. I didn't know how much, but I ended up putting on a big bet, and I bought these put options in the QQQs. So the QQQ is an ETF that tracks the NASDAQ. And if you want to bet on the NASDAQ, you buy the QQQs. In this case, I bought a put option. A put option is a leverage bet. It's a derivative to bet on the decline of that instrument. So when the QQQs were trading at 334 on February 19th, Friday, I bought the 320 strike price, which meant that I was 14, handles or whatever you want to call it, 14 QQQ points out of the money, which is a big bet. That's a 7% move. And I bought these options, before the following week. So they were a little bit more expensive, but I paid $1 for the 320 put options that were expiring February 26th. And over the weekend, I had a heart attack about what I did. I loaded up. I bought like 100 grand worth, which if I was wrong, 100 grand was going to go into the trash can that following Friday. But it turns out Monday, frickin' market opens lower. Tuesday, it collapses. It goes through my strike price. It goes through 320. It goes through 310. And so my options that I bought for $1 went from 1 to 10. And by the time I could scramble and get out of some of them, I was getting out between $5 and $8. I made, anywhere about 600% of my money. So, did pretty well. And then I reloaded the following week and did the same thing. So when I buy an option, it's because I think there's going to be a move in that underlying instrument. So you have to see a setup in Lyft, in the QQQs, in whatever you're trading, a setup that's going to translate to a move. If it just sits there, then you die in options. Options start losing their value very quickly. So if one day sideways, one day lower, you lose a ton of value. So you need an explosive move very quickly. Now, there are ways of playing options where you can sell an out of the money, put against an out of the money call, collect premium. So if a market is in a trading range, there are many strategies you can use options to, write options and collect premium. But if I'm, buying naked options, puts or calls, I'm really looking at the underlying instrument and, seeing if there's going to be an explosive move. for instance, can you look at CRM? That is Salesforce. This is something I've been keeping one eye on. Salesforce has not been acting well, inconsistent with its prior performance. It's kind of in this long-term descending pattern. It grabbed, obviously a foothold around 200. I don't know. This is starting to lose some of its mojo that it's had in the last couple of years. Yeah, I'd kind of leave this one alone. I think it's locked between in a trading range between 220, and frankly, I think that it's lost a bit of steam. It's got this descending pattern. It's got this, so I don't know. I mean, it's also sitting on a major uptrend line, so I think I'd kind of leave that one alone for now. Kirby wants to load a TTD. It's Trade Desk. I don't know. Trade Desk has got this funky double top. All of these, so I don't know. It looks like it formed this double top around the 970, and then it broke below the neckline at 738. We've been trading below the neckline. And I don't know if it takes out the recent low last week of where was that? 592. I don't know. It looks like there's some air below here. So I don't know. That does not look good. Meantime, Zoom is trading at 316, down over $10 today. So I would watch that 310 level. Zoom gets under 310, you're going to see 250. James says, what do you think of MRK? I don't know if you mean WRK. Or is that Merck? So Merck Weekly, I don't know. It's just in this large trading range. So, it's probably a dividend stock. So when I look for an opportunity, I want to see something that's going to move, up or down. When you look at Merck and it's just been doing like this for years, I just kind of get rid of those things. I'm not into, looking at trading ranges. I want to, find things that are going to move explosively one way or another. So Merck is probably a good dividend stock. It may be a really good long-term play. I'm not a, kind of a Warren Buffett type investor. So, that's not what I look at. So Tian wants to look at BABA, BABA. That looks pretty ugly too, man. It looks like, we're forming a huge double top. If that thing gets under 210, it looks like it's going to break lower. So there's a whole bunch of stocks that Marius wants to know. Uber. So even though, we've got the NASDAQ break into, new all-time highs, there's a whole bunch of stocks that look terrible. So that's why I said it's a stock picker's market. You got to look at the individual merits of, each stock. So Uber is kind of in this symmetrical triangle. Today we've got this reversal lower where we opened at the high and, we're going lower. I never like to see that. So I don't know. Let's see how we close today. I mean, it's got, a cadence of, higher lows, but it's also got a cadence of lower highs. So we're in this kind of triangle here, and if we can break above like 60, maybe we get a run to 70. But right now it's kind of, locked in this trading range. And I don't know, disappointing price action. Charles wants to look at DSKE, and then, I'm going to cut it out here. It's just meant to be like a 20-minute, informal session. So DSKE, it's broken out. I always like to see, something this looks pretty interesting. looks pretty interesting. I mean, it had a double bottom at 85 cents, and this thing's run to, $8. So it's been a 10 banger off the lows. So I don't know. I think you might be in a resistance zone here. The weekly's opening, an open higher. We're going lower. I don't know. It's already had a pretty good run here. And maybe you look for a pullback and a consolidation. Looks interesting though. It's definitely got a double bottom, inverted head and shoulders underneath it. If this thing pulled back to, $8, maybe it would be, an interesting play. Payam wants to know about Euro Yen, and then I think I'm going to jam from there. So Euro Yen is in this consolidation zone between 129, 130. It's in this huge conflict zone on the monthly chart. So the monthly intersection of a huge downtrend line is around 130 to 132, which is about where we hit. The Euro Yen has been in a long-term downtrend, and now we're at a huge inflection point in the yen trades. And it may just take many more days or weeks to kind of settle this conflict out as to whether the Euro Yen is turning up or it's going to go back into its secular primary downtrend. I'm kind of on the fence, about what it's going to do. We'll just have to watch it in here. I mean, the momentum is still higher, but it's caught between this, 129 to 132, and it may just, need to bang around this range for a little bit longer to resolve, where this thing wants to go. Rob says, what do you think about AMC? I don't know, man. It's these freaking short squeeze stocks like GameStop and AMC, they should be dead a long time ago. These short covering plays, just keep giving it renewed life. The company announced that it was, trying to amend its charter to dilute the shareholders by another 500 million shares. So I think, many years ago, this company had 107 million shares outstanding. Then it blew up to 370 million. And now they want to add another 500 million, which means there'll be 1 billion shares outstanding in this company. And look, I think they'll do that dilution to maybe take out some of the bondholders, but I can't see how the shareholders are ever going to make money in this thing. It's just suffered. But, the short covering moves, they just keep this freaking thing alive. This thing should be dead. This thing should be trading under $5. And probably a month from now, it will be. But somehow, I don't understand how they keep GameStop and AMC afloat. It's just manipulation in there. So I think the fundamentals are really poor for AMC, but somehow it, always gets another life. So Sarah says, can you analyze Tesla? So, and I'll leave it there. So I think I'll open with Tesla. I'll close with Tesla. Tesla's in this very interesting trading range between 720 and 600. I'm sorry, and 560. So we opened on the high and closed on the low on Thursday. Today it looks like we opened on the high. We're trading lower. And so we do have a cadence, even though it closes on the low, it is stair-stepping higher. It's got to get past this one bar at $720. So today's high was 708. So 720 is this high hurdle for Tesla. And we do have this bottom, at 500 to 560. We have this huge neckline around 720. And if it can get above 720, you could see this thing sprint. But that's if. So I don't know. We're really in a very interesting inflection zone. in all of these markets. The QQQs are now trading at 330, which means they're between the 325 resistance of the last couple of weeks and the highs a couple of weeks ago, 334. You're right in between. So the NASDAQ hasn't made an all-time high, while the S&P and the Dow have. And there's a whole bunch of NASDAQ stocks. I mean, Zoom is getting its face kicked in today. Zoom is trading under 315. I think it closed at 327. So you watch that 310 on Zoom, and there's going to be air under there. We're going to go to 275 in a sprint. All right, guys. I think I'm going to love and leave you there. My stock for the day is Zoom, ZM. I'm very short Zoom. AMC looks like it hit a top around 1125. We're now about 50 cents lower just since forming that top a few minutes ago. I got to be truthful for you. I had these put options on AMC. I forgot about Easter. I thought my puts were expiring on Friday. Turns out they expired on Thursday. And so I got exercised into the stock. And so now I'm net short the actual stock. I've got 100,000 shares short. So I don't know. I still feel this thing's going to zero. But obviously I'm worried about this, GameStop environment where, a group of these Wall Street, Reddit guys have, found a way to just step on the shorts. And, then it forces people to buy call options. And then you got to, cover your stock by buying more stock. And it's called a gamma play. And so there's all kinds of games being played. And, I'm sure if I have the guts to play this out a month later, I'll make a lot of money on it. But I'm probably not going to let it get too much above today's high, which was 1125. So I'll give it till there, and then I'll just throw it in and, lose a bunch of money. All right, guys, thanks for checking in. I'm doing a live webinar tonight. You can message our support team if you want to check that out. Support, I should have the link, but I don't. I'm doing a live the pattern trader. Send an inquiry to our support team if you want access. This will be at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where I'll go into the markets live and I'll show you on a chart what I'm looking at. Again, it's very difficult for me to visually, communicate what I'm looking at just by an informal chat. Terry, you're welcome. Henry, you're welcome. Michelle, Chief, thanks. Richard, thanks again for checking in. And maybe I'll see you at 4 o'clock, or I'll see you again tomorrow. All right.